Hey guys, this is Scott Horne with the Owner Finance Network. This video is going to talk a little bit about liens that can kill deals, things that you got to think about when you're running across these in effect to the property you're trying to buy. So hopefully you find the video helpful. If you do, please like the video. We appreciate that. If you have any comments, please comment below. We'll do our best to address those for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. When you're buying a property, I think first and foremost is to determine what kind of liens may be out there and do they affect your property and can they kill the deal you're doing? So simple answer is absolutely they can. And you need to really find out what you've got. And of course, the way you find that out is either through proper research online through your county clerk's website, getting to be good at that along the way, ordering an abstract or looking at your title commitment, knowing what is out there, and then deciding how am I going to deal with this or can I deal with it. Now, if I'm going to buy a home subject to the existing debt, I got to make sure I know what kind of a mortgage I have. If it's a traditional, conventional mortgage, FHA, VA, not a problem. If it's a home equity loan, it better not be a line of credit. If it is a line of credit, it has to be a closed end, meaning it's been closed out and it's now fully amortizing. If not, I ain't touching that deal because I'm not about to let the seller, who is the borrower of that loan, have the potentiality of going out and borrowing money again on that loan. So we want to avoid that like the plague. The next thing is looking at a deal where it might be a reverse mortgage and with very short time left on it, where the lender has been notified of either the death or the vacating the property by the last of the property owners. In that case, keep in mind with a reverse mortgage, the lender has the complete right, and typically they do, call those liens due within 12 months of the death of the last of the spouses and or the time that they vacated the property. And then you've got to make certain you have the ability to pay off that loan because it will get called due. So those two mortgage type liens can affect what you do a little bit when you come across these items. I think sometimes if you find a property tax lien on the property, it can be an issue that you have to think about. Is there time remaining on it? Are you making monthly payments on it? Are you also taking that loan subject to the debt? Or maybe you just need the ability to pay it off and make sure you know how large of a lien that is, because it's not going away at all. The next thing to look at, I think, on deals that could really kill a real estate deal is long-term IRS liens and or judgment liens. By what I mean by long-term is both IRS liens and judgment liens have a 10-year life. So if that's the case, and there's still 9 years left on one of those liens out there, if they're sizable at all, I may not be willing to buy a property subject to that and hang on to it for 9 years with that potentiality. Now, IRS liens don't bother me too much. I just don't ever see them foreclosing on those liens, but it doesn't mean they couldn't. Judgment liens, if they're fairly new, could be an issue, so I'd certainly want to make certain that I have the ability to pay that judgment lien off if need be in the event that that judgment creditor decided to come after the property and collect it. You know, here in Texas, judgment liens cannot attach to a homestead by operation of law. But once the seller has sold the home, if that judgment lien remained on the property was not paid off, could that judgment creditor come after the property that you own it because no longer is it a homestead and it's no longer protected? I think the simple answer is yes, they could. And because of that, you've got to look very carefully at that and make sure you can navigate that and mitigate that risk, along the way. So looking at this is so important. It really affects how we buy our houses with creative finance. I love to buy houses with these liens on it because it helps me negotiate better deals. I prefer liens to have a shorter life as opposed to a longer life. And every deal is going to be just that little bit different. If you're really planning to hang on to that property as a long-term rental property, you're buying it subject to, there's a 9-year judgment lien left on it. Is that okay? Or 9 years left on the IRS lien, is that okay? So long as you realize you're not going to be able to sell that property until those liens fall off, it's okay. But it's something you need to stop and look at and make sure you mitigate along the way. On the flip side, if these things pop up, can you clear the liens off? Your closing agent, title agent would have that ability. And of course, the way you clear those off may be there are mechanisms to remove judgment liens, for instance, here in Texas on a homestead that can be done in as little as 34 days. You're not removing a child support lien. You're not removing an IRS lien. So can you pay those? Well, in most cases, the sellers don't have the ability to pay those, so the answer is no. Maybe a mechanics lien pops up. Well, in Texas, those usually only have a life of about 1 year now with some statutory changes. So could that mechanics lien already be dead and gone or falling off very soon? Absolutely. So learning how to understand liens, learning how to mitigate these, learning how to recognize them, how to navigate them is so important in your deal, because if you don't know how to do it properly, they will kill your deal. And every once in a while, you get into a situation where a deal is just not tenable and you can't buy it. And guys, you know what? That's okay. There are a lot more deals out there in the marketplace we can go after. So y'all, I hope you found this video helpful along the way about liens that can kill deals. If you did, take a minute and like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any comments, comment below. We'll do our best to comment back to you on those. And we'll see you all next time.